Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Untitled Film Nerd Project. My name is Philip. Joining me, as always, is TJ.
Hello.
And we are on day 5 of our 4th annual 31 Days of Horror. And today we watched The Devil's Candy. And I fucking loved it.
Agreed.
It was so good.
Literally, the first thing that comes to mind is metal as fuck.
The soundtrack and score was so on point.
Mm-hmm.
It would go from metal to like chanting in the same scene. And it fit with, like, it just fit like in a, like, not as much as Baby Driver, of course, but
yes,
it had that kind of feel to it where like the beats of the song matched what was going on the screen. And then it would shift from like metal to like the weird, kind of like religious chanting stuff. And it just fit the way the scene flowed.
And it's one where the music told just as much of the story.
It enhanced what was going on.
Yep.
Oftentimes we'll see something and the music doesn't match, or they kind of shoehorn a song in. This just perfect. It was like, hand to glove. It was fit so nicely. I can see why this got such attention and the reviews it did.
Totally agreed. What was one of the points I was wanting to make? Another thing that this movie kind of, what I felt like it was like true modern day family horror movie.
Yeah, exactly. I was expecting more Amityville.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't get that.
No.
Which was a really nice surprise, actually. Like, I was waiting for that showdown.
Uh-huh.
Like, I mean, like, my heart was racing. I was like, okay, it was like two bulls getting ready to fight. I was really anticipating the showdown between I forget his name in the movie, but the son that was already hearing the voices, and then the dad, played by Ethan Embry. Which, by the way, glad to see him finally get a role he can sink his teeth into.
Yes.
And for but
he did fantastic.
And for being almost 40,
yeah,
the dude got himself into phenomenal shape for this.
And I just completely, I believed Ethan Embry in this role.
Oh, I mean, it was the entire movie was perfectly cast from top to bottom. It was.
Mm-hmm.
The daughter was perfect. The guy that was the antagonist was perfect. You couldn't have cast him any better.
He's always been creepy.
Yeah, but he plays it so well. Like, he has that was it Lenny from Mice and Men?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what his name is, I think? He has that kind of quality to him.
Mm-hmm.
That only he can really bring that kind of nuance where he's like simple but dangerous.
Agreed.
I don't think they could have cast him any better.
Mm-hmm.
And
not to mention just his towering presence.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the part of it. Like, he just has that, like that gentle but scary presence about him. Like, he could be like the nicest guy to you, but if you get on his bad side, watch out.
He could literally just knock you straight down
with a rock.
One of the things that, like, we don't ever see families like this.
Right, yeah.
In movies.
Yeah.
And they were so good as a family.
They felt natural.
Yeah. The relationship that the daughter and the father had. And
loved it.
Even the relationship, the wife at the beginning when they're riding in the car and they're listening to the metal, I'm like, that look that the wife is making is so the look that I would make when I was riding in a car with some friends that were listening to metal.
And what's cool about that, though, is like, usually in movies like this, when they have like the family and, the one person doesn't like what the other one's doing, they're kind of domineering and kind of like a dick about it, but she wasn't. Like, she understood.
Yeah.
And I really liked that she understood the relationship that Ethan Embry had with his daughter, and that metal was their bond. And she wasn't like, turn this off. This is, disgusting. This is Satan's music or whatever other crap they want to say. She's like, hey, I get it. Can you turn it down, please?
Yeah.
I was like, that's really cool. Like, it was just like that was part of the naturalness of like how they all just kind of meshed together.
Mm-hmm.
Like they felt like a legit family.
What did you think about the entire like reveal at the end? I'm not even sure if you'd count that as a reveal, but the entire thing of the kids in the painting that were screaming to be let out.
What I liked about it, and it's kind of what I liked about this movie, was it didn't hit you over the head with it.
Uh-huh.
He said it one time,
Mm-hmm.
and it didn't focus on it again because you're so busy like focused on what was going on between the towering guy and the daughter.
Yeah.
And which we'll come back to. And so the reveal then didn't bother me because, you know, I was expecting it for them to end with them all hugging and the house is going up in flames behind them, you know, roll the credits. I thought it was one of these times where, unlike last night's movie where it was an unnecessary little plot twist,
Yeah.
this one made sense. And they didn't like ram it down your throats. I wasn't expecting it, to be honest. So when it happened, it's like, okay, cool. I mean, it makes sense to what was going on. The kids were screaming out to be found for help.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I thought it was a nice little bow on the end of the movie. Didn't bother me at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think I have much negative to say about this at all. It was short as hell.
Yeah, I mean, if anything's negative, it might be that, but so, it may not be that.
I don't think so, because I think it was perfectly encapsulated in an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
They told the story they needed to tell. They built to the third act beautifully. The third act went off wonderfully. Like, it was just perfect. And it tied itself up. Like, I mean, typically I'm like, hey, add 20 minutes or subtract 20 minutes depending on the movie. This one was one of those rare times where I thought it was just perfectly, like, it was short, but it was perfectly short.
Mm-hmm. Another thing that I liked that typically is not, you know, there'd be the trope, and they didn't follow the trope, but the cops were just automatically like, hey, you guys are in danger. We're going to do what we can to help you get out of danger.
Mm-hmm.
And there was not any questioning, you know. I thought when he was burying the kids in the yard, I thought, oh, well, this is going to turn into Ethan Embry's going to be thought that people are going to think he's the killer.
Right.
And,
yeah, that crossed my mind.
And we didn't get any of that. And I'm very glad.
I can't say enough good things about the third act, like the final 20 minutes from the time he can't find her at school all the way to the end.
I mean, it was just so intense.
Yeah, like Dear the Vault, this is how you build up to a third act. And this is how you execute a third act. This was the same guy who wrote and directed The Loved Ones, which I haven't seen yet. I've been wanting to.
It's one that I've always wanted to watch.
I haven't because the subject matter really isn't something I really care for. But the dude obviously knows what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, holy crap. And to not only, you know, you cast Ethan Embry, but you give him a role that he fits nicely and something to sink his teeth into, like I said, and he's committed to it, and you give him some relevance again.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty badass. Like, this is definitely a director that I will probably keep an eye on then.
Yeah.
Because this could have been cheesy, it could have been hokey, especially when you bring the whole metal into it, and especially with the end. Spoiler, with him just beating the shit out of the guy with the guitar. That could have been so freaking cheesy. And another thing, they didn't hit you over the head with it.
Yeah.
But they didn't, like, you know, foreshadow so much.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting. I mean, I really wasn't expecting that to come into play. Other than, you know, he gave it to her, and now the voices are, because they did such a good job at making the other characters so valid. That the little how they dropped were just subtle enough to go under the radar because there's so much other stuff going on that you're paying attention to, and that's how you do misdirection.
Yeah, and it's like, it's not like so many. Again, one of the things that so many horror directors fall for is I don't feel like I'm being force fed.
Oh, details. Not at all. No. And
I'm not being force fed foreshadowing.
Mm-hmm.
You dropped subtle hints, and that's exactly what it did.
Yep.
And it all paid off.
Yeah. in a fantastic way. Another thing they didn't do that some horror movies have a tendency to do at the end, like towards the end, when he has her on the bed and they're surrounded by fire, and he says, "There he is. Can you see him?" or something like that, and she looks, she doesn't see anything. Thank God.
Yeah.
I was like,
do not
totally
bring expecting
the devil
to see like the devil or something.
Yeah, exactly, coming out of the wall or something. And another thing I actually liked, I usually don't, they didn't explain anything.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't explain where the voices came from, why they were there, what was going on. None of it. And I usually like to have some backstory. This one, again, was told in a way you didn't need it. You just kind of accept it for what it is.
Yeah, and it's just up to your interpretation.
Right. I mean, they could even have went the route of Ethan Embry not hearing the voices and the other dude just being batshit crazy.
Uh-huh.
They didn't. It was still told in such a way that it didn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
And did you pick up on the kind of weird vibe the gallery owner was given?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the name of the gallery
Belial,
was... Yeah.
I was like, interesting.
Even the secretary, I mean...
Yeah.
Even by artist standards, they were a little bit extreme.
They were a little eccentric, yeah. With her makeup, the severe red and black makeup, the red dress thing she was wearing. That dude, the dude that owns the gallery came off like, Satan tempting you in
the devil.
Human form, yeah.
It's like, oh, well, in order for us to make this deal, you will have to make
a sacrifice. Yeah. And they were drinking the blood of the earth.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, it was just I think that's interesting. Since they didn't really hit us over the head with the foreshadowing, I wonder if that had more to play than we maybe originally thought.
But again, up to interpretation.
Exactly, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Obviously the casting with Ethan Embry is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
The wife, she's from Roswell.
Okay.
I haven't really seen her in anything since Roswell.
I know the daughter is in Maps to the Stars, or Maps of the Stars.
Okay.
And it's one of Cronenberg's it's a few years old, but it's one of his newer movies.
Yeah, I know exactly which one you're talking about.
And it's on my to-watch list, but I haven't yet because I have to be in the mood for that one because it sounds a little out there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know if I need a movie about crazy Hollywood people right now.
It's Cronenberg. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
You just have to be in the mood to watch Cronenberg.
You almost always have to be in the mood to watch Cronenberg.
Yeah. No, I'd say this one is definitely our win for the month.
So far, this is the hidden gem.
Yeah.
Had I not heard anything about this, like the buzz I saw on social media and whatnot, I would have been even more blown away.
If I were to have any complaint, it's just the fact that this movie was made in 2015 and we're just now... It only just recently got released.
Yeah. Which is really sad.
Yeah. It's like, Hollywood, stop holding on to your fantastic films. Hold on to The Mummy a little bit longer.
You didn't need to rush that. We didn't need to see the trailer without the sound. We didn't need to see that trailer. That was ridiculous and silly, and everyone should be ashamed.
But
some minor things I had from my notes.
Mm-hmm.
I did like how his fingers were always stained with paint.
Mm-hmm.
That was a nice little touch. This movie made me miss painting, by the way. I did like that typically in these kind of movies, when the person leaves the property or the house, they're no longer possessed.
Yeah.
This didn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Which really I thought was an interesting spin on it. Like, what exactly is going on that we don't know. But what exactly is at play here? Because the towering dude left, and he's still in the hotel trying to drown the voices out.
And when Ethan Embry was trying to rush to go pick up his daughter and wreck the car, and he was trying to call,
yep,
still heard the voices,
which is really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And especially, I also wrote down it's interesting that usually two people don't have. Let's take like Amityville. One guy was possessed.
Mm-hmm.
No one in the house was. In this one, two people were being possessed. Well, in a way, you know what I mean. They were hearing the voices and they were being affected.
They're both being influenced by the same thing,
which I think is rare.
Yeah, and it was like, and they were such extreme opposites on
Yeah.
how they were being influenced.
Oh yeah, like the guy was yeah. And I thought it was interesting to have like the Ethan Embry's character being a painter and getting lost in the painting and then making these. I mean, if anything else, you could have added 20 minutes on of just him making crazy ass paintings, which was weird because like I did like it though that he heard the voices, but he didn't get to the extreme of the other guy.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I was expecting Amityville. I was expecting him to go batshit and kill his family, et cetera, and they didn't do that. I mean, he heard the voices and he got lost in the paintings, but it was more. I don't know. It's hard to say because like since he was painting the kids because he could hear the people that were buried.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder, like, what voices he was hearing then.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you said, it's open to interpretation, but really interesting to think about. But I did like that they didn't follow that trope of only one person's possessed and they go crazy. It multiple people. It extended past the house.
Mm-hmm.
So those things I thought were really, really cool. I thought the shot of the tire blowing was really well done.
Yep.
I did like that.
Because I totally thought he was going to hit the other car.
Yeah, it was just like how they did. Yeah, it was really well executed. I don't know what else. It's just because if he'd been by himself on the road, okay, tire blows, he skids off. But there was another car there, and that car had to like swerve and you go over the other lane, and it was just like timed and planned really. I'm like, how do you plan a tire blowing like that and
you just know that other car was just probably like, oh shit,
and then sped away. Like, all right, peace out. Hope you're okay. Stop honking at me.
Karma.
Yeah. And then a small little thing is the noise that Ethan Embry made when he was shot.
Mm-hmm.
I liked that because I liked that whole sequence where he like went to swing for him and didn't get him, and the guy shoots, and Ethan Embry's trying to dodge him, and he's running down the hall and he gets shot, and he makes this noise and then falls.
And even with that particular scene, how both Ethan Embry and Ray, I think was
Okay.
Giant's name.
Okay.
How they both were panicked in that situation.
Yeah. It felt real.
Yeah.
Like you have it planned out in your head. I want to beat this dude over the head with my bat, but you know, it didn't. It just felt really real.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad. Also, another thing that they didn't focus on was making us believe like the house is haunted or something.
Yeah. They just left it. I mean, all we got really was the shot of the upside down cross.
Mm-hmm.
And that was it.
Yep. Other than that, it was a normal house.
Yeah, I mean, and note to filmmakers, sometimes that's all you need to establish a mythology.
Yeah.
Do I want answers? Yeah, but I'm also really glad I didn't get them.
One of my other favorite shots or scenes that I loved was the painting and body cut up montage.
Yeah,
when Ethan Embry was
with the paint and the blood like mixing. Yeah, that was really well done.
And again, it showed how both the two of them were being influenced by the same thing.
Yeah, but
and they're both reacting
in their own ways. Yeah, because it was such a disturbing scene. The scene prior was so like disturbing. The whole time I'm waiting for like the cops to catch on and catch him.
Mm-hmm.
But that's in movies. In real life, this kind of crap happens, and they don't get caught. Like this guy should have, for by all accounts, should have been caught. I mean, he was very obviously something was wrong with him mentally.
Mm-hmm.
And to drag a squirming kid wrapped up into your hotel room and then cut him up. Definitely, I'm surprised I didn't write that down. Definitely agree. That was a really well done montage.
Just overall, this was a damn good movie.
It was a home run. It was really, really well done. I mean, usually when we watch a crappy movie, we hope that the next one can kind of wash that taste out of our mouths and wash that out of our brain. And this did.
Yeah. The Vault is already forgotten.
The Who?
Yeah, exactly.
I would say if anyone was ever on the fence about going to see it, definitely go check it out. If you don't like it, then I don't know what to say.
Yeah. You don't like metal, apparently.
Yeah, go watch The Vault and then tell me what you think.
Yeah.
Blech. All right, so I think that's all I have to say. I was really, really pleased. Really, really pleased. The only time I said anything negative was when I wrote in my notes, "Get the fuck out of the room" at the end.
Yeah.
When it was on fire. I'm like, "Are you okay?" "Yeah, get the fuck out of the room." Like, come on now.
I know that we're cutting to the end, but that reminded me of another thing that I liked, that I really liked, was when they showed the focus of the gas tank, which when it exploded, it was just a small pop, which makes sense because the dude had already pretty much emptied.
Yeah.
But in most tropes and
it would explode the whole house or something.
Yeah.
Yep, you're right.
All the windows would have blown out. Or
Right.
Something. But it was just a pop.
And that adds to the realism. I really respect that. Everything was just based in reality in this like supernatural realm. And this is how you do it.
Yep.
You don't insult the audience. You don't pander to the lowest common denominator of things. The whole house doesn't need to explode. The small pop, like you said, only the one half of the room went up in flames, where the gas tank was, the gas can was, which it would.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it made sense. And I'm glad you brought that up because it's another instance there where realism is at play, and it works.
One thing's for damn sure. I'd be suing the shit out of that realtor.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, she fell down the stairs or something, and he couldn't live without her.
And what did he say? It's not like Charles Manson lived here?
Well...
That was a dick move.
Yeah. Well, kinda. Like, I thought that was foreshadowing what Ethan Embry was going to become.
Mm-hmm.
Which, thankfully, it didn't. Especially with the hair and the beard and all that.
Yeah. Yeah. Just good job, Ethan Embry. Thank you for coming back.
Yes, and thank you to, I think, Sean Byrne is the director. That's his name. Thank you very much for making another awesome movie. A welcome addition to our 31 Days of Horror. But yeah, thumbs up all the way. Really enjoyed this. I would show this to people.
Oh yeah, totally. But yeah, excellent.
I agree. All the stars. All stars. 4 stars, 5 stars, all of them. Okay. Well, thank you for listening. Stay tuned. Be tuned in for day 6 tomorrow. Not sure what we're watching yet, but we'll figure it out. In the meantime, have a good night. My name is Philip.
And I'm TJ.
And we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.